The events in tonight's episode are real, drawn from history, folklore, and whispered accounts. The Academy's connection to these events only exists in legend, as intended. Before you enter these halls, heed warning. Tonight's chilling tales are not for the faint of heart. All who enter must be prepared to explore stories of darkness, mystery, the macabre, and all of the darkest parts of humanity. If tales of true crime, the paranormal, or other creatures that go bump in the night unsettle you, turn back now. This is not the place for you. For those of you brave souls who stayed, welcome to Dark Academy. I'm Kristen and I'll be your guide. Tonight, we're heading somewhere different. Somewhere I just recently discovered. So grab a lantern because we have a short hike through the woods. Okay, watch your step, easy. Please come inside. I did get word it would rain. I was just hoping it would wait until we got here. But I did grab some towels and blankets just in case. Everyone grab one. Yes, one of each. They are soft, aren't they? They're my favorite. Come on in. Take a seat on the pews. Unfortunately, they aren't very cozy. I was hoping the blankets would help. Now that we're settled, why are we in the church, you might ask? Well, I'll tell you. I haven't ventured out too much. I was still a little unfamiliar and somewhat scared, for a lack of a better word. I will soon drop some episodes on how I found this place. It was pretty crazy. Very unlike me, so I can't fully explain it, but I'll try. Anyway, so for those of you who are new here, I used to do this podcast with my friend Becca. On the second or third solo episode I did, I told you about her departure from the podcast. You can go listen if you want all the details, because there's no time for that right now. Anyway, so she's getting married very soon. I'm going, we're all excited, but she informed me the other day she received something from the Academy. I had no idea, so it was a little shocking. It was a summons to the Academy. She was like, "What is this?" I said, "I don't know, but I'll do some digging." Here's what it said. By decree of Dark Academy Ancient Rites, you are hereby summoned to stand before the Chapel of Shadows. As one bound to its hallowed halls, you must fulfill the rite of union before the final toll of midnight on the eve of your wedding. Failure to do so may invite unforeseen consequences. That's intense, right? It's not just the invitations, though. She can't go by a mirror without a ghostly bride trying to tell her something. She's waking up to whispers in the night. You must come. Becca's intrigued because she's Becca, but also a little concerned. The warning seems life-threatening. We have to help her. First of all, what is the Chapel of Shadows? What is the rite of union? And what are these unforeseen consequences? And why was Becca summoned? I decided the Chapel of Shadows would be the first thing to figure out. Most campuses have a chapel, so I decided to venture out. The parts I have been to seem to be surrounded by forest, thick forest. But then I saw an opening. The same one we took to get here? Assuming there weren't more than one chapel, unlikely, I figured this place was it. So here we are in the Chapel of Shadows, if you couldn't figure that out already. Unlike the basement, I didn't need a key. The doors opened easily. Guess the church is always open for prayer. But this place didn't feel filled with the Holy Spirit like churches I'm used to. It felt empty. And yet, there was still something. I'm not sure how to explain it. Could simply be the darkness of it. As you can see, no sunlight gets through those trees. Well, now that I figured that part out, I was like, I need to go back to my safe space, the library. And I did some digging. Anything I could find on weddings, rituals, rites, anything of the sorts. Here's the first thing I found. You know the beginning of each episode where I warn you and tell you to leave if you can't handle it? So apparently by entering these halls, you became an inductee. Your free will left at the door. Look, I had no intentions of tricking you, so I do apologize. I will be sure to add that to the rest of the episodes from now on for any future inductees. It is unclear what will be required of you in the future. Again, sorry. But we're learning right now what's expected if you get married after becoming an inductee. Becca is our guinea pig. So, Let's make sure these unforeseen consequences don't happen to her. Her life is going well, let's keep it that way. I did find out part of the unforeseen consequences. That feeling I felt the first time I was in the church was a ghost bride. Probably the same one Becca's seeing in mirrors. She resides here. No, don't be afraid. She's not a nasty ghost. She's been kind of helpful so far, actually. I've seen her walk down the aisle or stand at the altar. She has come at me a few times, but for a good reason. I promise you don't have to worry. Unless you two are getting married soon. If you're scared, maybe sit toward the outside of the rows. I've never seen her there. It's storming too bad for you to leave now. Just calm down, you're fine. And she only came at me when I was leaving. Otherwise, she's basically a residual ghost walking up and down the aisle. There's also a shadow figure in the bell tower. I don't know if you saw him when we were coming, but I don't know who or what he is yet. So for another day, I assume. One problem at a time. What she says when coming at me is what helped me to figure out what will happen to Becca if she doesn't do the union right. She said, "She's next." I don't know why they're always whispering. Next for what? Next to perform the rite? But why would the ghost be warning me? It hit me. Becca will be next, like the next ghost bride. I love Becca, but I don't need her to be trapped here. I'm not that kind of friend. I researched to see how it was possible. I knew there were bride ghost stories, but what caused them to get stuck? One of the most well-known comes from Bramshill House in Hampshire, UK. The house itself is said to have 14 ghosts. The most popular comes from a story told around the holidays about the young bride Anne Cope. On Christmas Day in the early 1600s, she married Lord Hugh Bethel. After all the celebrations, Anne suggested she and her guests play a short game of hide and seek. Given she was probably still a child, like 14, guessing only, it makes sense she'd rather play a game than go immediately be with her husband on her wedding night. Probably disgusting. She hid a little too well, though. What started as a game turned into a full-on search for her life. They never found her, though. Of course, rumors spread that she simply ran away. I mean, that seems plausible. But he was distraught for decades. About 50 years later, he was searching in the attic when he found a previously unknown secret door. Normally, I would think this is great, but he opened it and found a chest. Inside were the skeletal remains of his bride, still in her dress. It's so tragic. There were scratches on the lid where she tried to get out. That gets me every time. This is why I don't want a mansion. I don't need a home so large you can't hear me scream when I need you. Also, when playing hide and seek, make sure you can get out of your hiding place before you shut yourself inside. Pretty sure this game has caused many problems for children for this very reason. Apparently there's a spectral lady in white who passes through a particular room. You can smell her favorite scent, lily of the valley. King Michael I of Romania was staying in this fleur de lis room, which means lily of the valley, while exiled after World War II. He asked to be moved to a different room since there was a lady in white disturbing him every night. Since the apparition is the actual known and seen part of the story, there's another version where the ghost is actually of Genevieve Orsini and was brought to the house in the chest from Italy in 1727. That's around the same time as the casket girls, just saying, also in chests. A replica of the wood chest is on display in the entrance of the Bramshill house today. This doesn't really explain why she's still roaming the halls after death, though. And I doubt Becca will be playing hide and seek on her wedding day. I've never heard her suggested as a game. But if she doesn't heed the Academy's warning that she was sent weeks ago, she may want to be careful with anything she chooses to do. I still haven't figured it all out yet. But she told me of a second invitation the Academy sent her. This is what it reads. The hour wanes. You must heed the call. The chapel's witness is eternal. One failed to speak her vows within these walls, and now she lingers, bound and forsaken for eternity. You must not delay. Well, that validates the unforeseen consequences. Becca would meet the same fate as our ghost bride. But when, how, why? There seems to be many ways a bride can get stuck, apparently. Sometimes it's just tragic. At the City Tavern in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, a bride and her bridesmaids were getting ready for a wedding when one of the bridesmaids knocked over a candle. The candle lit a curtain on fire, then spread quickly in the room, killing them all. Patrons see the bride in the tavern from time to time, especially during wedding events. I wonder why not the bridesmaids? When the bridal party is lined up for pictures, multiple photographers have reported seeing her next to the bride, but can't seem to catch her on camera. How are ghosts so good at evading the camera? Any circumstances when someone dies is horrible. Getting stuck repeating your death in any way is also terrible. Some circumstances are just plain tragic. One soon-to-be bride was awaiting the return of her mariner fiancé at the Hotel Galvez in Galveston, Texas. When she got word his ship sank, she was devastated. So much so, she took her own life. But her very much alive fiancé returned to discover news of her death. She obviously doesn't remember what happened because she is eternally awaiting his return at the hotel. I love my husband dearly, but I can't imagine loving someone so much you take your own life. Had to be other stuff going on mentally. But there are quite a few stories to suggest there are quite a few who do understand the need. In 1896, William Winstead Thomas built a mansion in Athens, Georgia for his daughter Isabel and her soon-to-be husband Richard W. Johnson. However, Richard left Isabel at the altar, so she too took her own life. People say she still resides in the home, what is now the Alpha Gamma Delta sorority house at the University of Georgia. Faucets turn on, lights turn on and off, doors open, all on their own. People have seen faces in the window. College and being away from home for the first time are hard enough. Now these girls have to worry about a ghost? I can't imagine. I wouldn't wish that on anybody, not even a Georgia Bulldog. In the true crime world, you hear, the husband did it, so often. You don't want to think about that of the person you love, the person you hope will protect you from the world. Let's be clear, I believe there are way more good husbands than bad. It's just that, when they're bad, they can make your life miserable and can be very scary. Unfortunately, that saying about the husband did it is far too often true when a woman is found murdered. In 1915, the daughter of a wealthy shipping company captain rejected an arranged marriage to be able to marry a much older man she fell in love with. He was a servant in their home, so her father disapproved. She married him anyway. So the father gave her a dowry as a wedding gift on the condition they would move far away. I don't fully understand why, but there it is. They decided to go to the Old Faithful Inn at Yellowstone National Park for their honeymoon. The husband immediately began spending the money on poker, eating and drinking in excess. 1 month into the trip, they were broke. The daughter called her dad for more money, but he said no. She and her husband began arguing about it and got into a nasty fight. Staff claimed he left in the middle of the night, never to be seen again. She was found days later in a bloody mess in the bathroom, missing her head. The inn looks like a giant lodge, rustic resort architecture. The main lobby and meeting area is open to floors above, with 2 levels of balconies with wood railings. Stairs lead from the upper level balcony to a landing called the Crow's Nest. It's where bands play to entertain the guests in the lobby. This is where staff eventually found her head. People see her apparition carrying her head coming from the Crow's Nest platform. While this is creepy, none of these quite explain what our ghost is doing here, why she's stuck here. So I kept digging. Maybe we'd be better to look at other wedding rituals to find out. We have wedding traditions entwined in our culture. We barely even think of them as rituals. They just are. But there are traditions and rituals all over the world. Some go from cute to weird to just plain disturbing. In South Africa, the bride and groom's parents bring fire from their homes to the home of the newlywed to light their hearth. It symbolizes the union of the families and to bring blessings and warmth to the new couple. I think that's precious. Germany's log cutting ceremony has the most wholesome meaning behind it. The bride and groom saw a log to symbolize the bride and groom's ability to work together in life. because that is necessary. India's stealing the groom's shoes has a playful mischievousness about it that I love. The bride's female family members attempt to steal the groom's shoes. If they succeed, he must negotiate to get them back, leading to a fun bartering session. There's different forms of glass breaking ceremonies all over the world. The only reason I don't love this one is it seems a bit wasteful. But Greece, wedding guests throw plates on the floor to ward off evil spirits. The bride and groom then clean it up to symbolize their ability to handle life's challenges together. Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan all break plates at the door to break curses or spells. The bride and groom break glasses at Jewish ceremonies too. Sweden has a kissing tradition where guests are allowed to kiss the bride if the groom leaves the room and kiss the groom if the bride leaves the room. I suspect the person who suggested this wanted to kiss the bride or groom. Otherwise, who would think of this? The Scots have the blackening. You know how we used to throw rice or blow bubbles at the bride or groom? I haven't been to a wedding in a while, so I don't know what happens now. Well, in Scotland, they throw mud, feathers, or rotten food even, meant to prepare the couple for the challenges of married life. That's gross. Kenya has one that's pretty disgusting and degrading in my eyes, but maybe their brides are okay with it. The father of the bride spits on her head and chest before she leaves home. Oh, I would throw up. Meant to bring luck and prosperity to the couple. In South Korea, the groom's feet take a beating. He will be asked riddles and trivia. This is believed to test his strength of character and sense of humor. Okay. Austria has a cute tradition where the groomsmen kidnap the bride on her wedding day and the groom has to find her. That one is cute. Romania does this too. But the Roma tradition is a bit more dark. In the Roma culture, the groom would kidnap the woman he wanted to marry with the help of his best man. He would then negotiate with her family, which would lead to not her freedom, but their wedding. She had no choice in the matter. Kazakhstan is really dark. They have a real problem with bride kidnapping and forced marriage, even to this day. Even minors. Making it illegal is still in the works. There are laws, but they are hardly ever tried, so what good is a law if there's no consequences? Out of 214 known reported cases, only 10 have been brought before a judge. And that just says brought before a judge. It does not say convicted. Women are actually seen as the cause instead of treating them like a victim. One woman says her father called her a disgrace and embarrassment to their family and to never come back because she was kidnapped. While these traditions are all interesting, the only one I could find that led to what Becca will have to do was the Mormon endowment ceremonies or temple ceremonies before marriage. Only in that they are very secretive and private and only alone or before members. Not similar in the rites or ceremonies themselves. Also, I went into the library the other day and a book was just open to exactly what I was looking for. I guess this whole time is running out made someone help. It's probably the same bride. I guess they figured I wouldn't find it in time and was like, here. Anyway, I'm grateful. Here's what I found out or was shown what Becca must do and why our ghost is stuck. So our ghost failed to complete the rite of union. I think that's kind of obvious. She didn't believe it was real. She thought it was dumb and continued her marriage, then life. She walked away and never looked back. Everything seemed fine. However, when she died, she was basically lassoed back to the academy. Except on the other side and stuck here. Here's why this ceremony is necessary. Only inductees may enter Dark Academy. When you marry, you become like one. Half of you becomes ineligible to enter. The ancient rite connects the academy chapel to your wedding vows, so when you speak them on your wedding day, no matter where you are saying them in the eternal presence of the chapel. This allows your partner to be an inductee in spirit, so you can continue your journey with the academy. If you do not perform the rites, like our ghost, you are still bound to the academy, like a curse. When you die, you will also be bound. Excuse me, I need to take this. Yes. Yes, I'm here with everybody, so. Okay. Oh. Yeah, I want to hurry. I won't take that chance. Okay, bye. Okay, I'm back. On a positive note, this rite is like a life insurance of sort. afterlife insurance to ensure you don't get stuck if something tragic happens to you at the hands of your husband. Not everyone has this protection. I'm still trying to make up for accidentally binding you to the academy and its consequences without your knowledge. I swear I didn't know. So I just have to make sure Becca gets here in time. Everyone contact her right now. Just kidding, I just talked to her. She said the ghost herself sent another warning. She let me share what it said. Time is running out. You have until the clock strikes midnight on the eve of your wedding to comply. Do not test the powers that be, for you too shall meet my same fate. And I just gave the location and time, Dark Academy, 12 a.m. I also told her the basics of what we found, so Becca's on her way now. We are going to have to clear out the chapel before she arrives since it's a private ritual. But I'm going to tell you one more story before we get going. This one is a tragic, true crime story of a wedding that never was. Molly Watson met James Addy at her new job in Moberly Area Correctional Center in Moberly, Missouri. He was a corrections officer in the prison. Molly had been dating an old childhood friend, Amber Bradley, for the last 5 years. The relationship ended when Amber found Molly and James in a hotel room. Oops. Molly and James's relationship had already began. After several years of dating, James proposed to Molly. They had both been married before, Molly once and James 4 times. Nothing screams you might be the problem more than that. Molly did have a son after her divorce from an unknown man. At least I don't know who he is. James was barely involved. But Molly was excitedly planning a Beauty and the Beast Disney-themed wedding for April 2018. On April 25th, 2018, the two went to the county recorder's office to apply for a marriage license. While applying for the license, the question came up about his last wife, Melanie. James said they were divorced, but Melanie got in a car accident, eventually dying after being removed from life support. Apparently it was pretty recent because their wedding planner said James put off planning a few times to deal with funeral preparations. 2 days later, the wedding planner spoke with James when he dropped off a centerpiece. He asked if James was getting excited. All James said was Molly was driving him crazy. A little strange, but it's tough planning a wedding. It gets stressful. Later that night, she would be found shot in the back of the head on the side of the road with her marriage certificate still in her car. They were due to be married in 2 days. James was convicted for killing Molly, sentenced to life without parole plus 10 years. To top it all off, though, Melanie, his ex-wife, was not dead. Nor was she his ex-wife. She was his wife-wife. In fact, they had been married for 23 years. Of which the last 7 were also spent having a full relationship and engagement with Molly. Jaw drop? Mine did. Well, that's it for the dark and chilling tales around wedding traditions and the union rites all Dark Academy inductees must perform before we get married. I'm already married, so I'm fine, I think. I'll check for all of us already in a union. I just got word Becca is here to do hers, so let's get out of the way. Back through the trail. Oh, look, it stopped storming. You can put the towels in the bag, in this bag. The blankets over here, I'll take them. Thank you. Well, thank you for joining me here at Dark Academy. I hope you enjoyed this dark and chilling tale, and we'll come back next time for another one. Don't forget to leave a review for this episode in the comments section below. I try to post pictures and other content on TikTok and Instagram at Dark Academy Pod. If you'd like to review the whole show, you can do that on Apple Podcasts. You can rate the show on any of the apps, and please do. It really helps a small show like this one. You can also email me at darkacademypod@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening. I'll meet you here next time. Same time, same place. For it's always midnight at Dark Academy. Bye.